Hi, think you don't need project management for your small business? Well, think again. I am going to show you why you need project management. Hi, I'm Cheryl Texera, and I am the owner of the Boss Productivity Group on Facebook and the Productivity Pod on YouTube and SunCloud. And I am here to level the playing field for you, the small business owner, so that you can leverage the power of project management and Scrum to manage the overwhelm of your to-do list and get things done in a more methodical and focused way so you can stop overwhelm and actually enjoy your business again. All right, so today we are going to talk about project management and why you actually need it, because I think that there's a lot of doubt out there for small business owners to, in using project management. They think it's too formal, and, why would I do that? It's just so formal. We don't really need to do that. And, we're not a big shop. Why should we do that? But I want to tell you a list of reasons why I think that project management and using Scrum, a little of both, can help you so much in the long run to build your business out and make it the business that you really dream about, right? Not just the one that's making money, but the one you actually have dreamed about having, where you love your job. It's your dream job. It's everything you desired. And you can get that through project management. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so we've talked about in the past, we've talked about the main reasons why you want to start incorporating some project management, and namely Scrum, right? When you're dealing with your day-to-day work, Scrum can really help you manage all of that craziness, right? Because you have sprint planning, and you sit down once every 2 weeks and you plan out your sprint. And during that 2 weeks of time, you are completely focused on the things that you chose that you are going to do during that time, right? And I've always broken it down into 4 quadrants. The 4 quadrants being your daily work. I'm going to share my screen. Your daily work would be 25% of your time. Your projects would be another 25% of your time. Marketing is a whole nother 20% of your time. And then you leave 25% of your time unbooked so that you can deal with overflow. If something took you longer than you thought, you had some obstacles, maybe you had a learning curve you didn't plan for, something like that, right? So that's what that's all about, is really getting your time laser focused. And that's what Scrum can do for you, is help you to plan out what you're going to do in the next 2 weeks. And if you work on focusing in on these 4 categories for managing your work for the next 2 weeks, you can continue to do your day-to-day work and get those things accomplished, and you can actually get your projects done and get your marketing done and all those things, right? Because you're actually allotting time to be completely focused on that particular area of your job, right? Of your work. And so that's why we want to really get our time laser focused in these 4 areas. Your day-to-day work is something in Scrum you would want to start, really working on those efficiencies. If you feel like you can't get any time to work on your projects or your marketing, then it's time to work on dialing in and getting some efficiencies in your day-to-day work, maybe outsourcing some of that lower level work that's high labor, that doesn't take a lot. But project management can help you actually get organized and really start to use measurements and things like that, so that you can see the fruits of your labor, right? Not only the fruits of your labor, you can start getting some measurements. So I made a list other than managing your overwhelm, other than being able to step away from your desk, other than getting, really laser focused on a project. What are other reasons why you might want to use project management? So one of them is you can sit down at the very beginning of your project and write down all the deliverables that you need to complete this project, right? So if you're doing something like building the front end of your funnel where you have a lead magnet and you want to get them on your subscriber list, there's much more to it than just a lead magnet and a subscriber list, right? There's this whole funnel process in the beginning, or in that whole stack, right? So 1, you would need a lead magnet. 2, you would need a opt-in page. 3, you need a thank you page. 4, you might want an upsell page and all that, but let's just go to very basics. If you're just building a very basic lead magnet opt-in, then you want an opt-in page, you want a thank you page, and then you want a welcome email series where you deliver that freebie and then check on your client and begin nurturing them, right? So all those deliverables that I just said, there's a whole bunch of work that goes into those, right? You need the copy for your lead magnet. You probably need it framed out some way. You need to design it in Canva or whatever, make it nice, make it, somewhat pretty. I'm not very good at it, but I try. And you need the opt-in page, you need the sales copy for the opt-in page, you need a form for that. You need to maybe be aware of what list you're putting them on in your email, and maybe even possibly a way to make that form populate your email using Zapier or something like that. You want to navigate to that thank you page. And when you navigate there, what are you going to tell them? Are you going to tell them to join your Facebook group? Are you going to lead them into some other upsells or some more free resources? Or what is it that you plan to do with that thank you page? And then you have those welcome emails, where you have, 3 to 5 emails. You're delivering that freebie, maybe checking up on them if they haven't opened that freebie yet, reminding them to open that freebie, and then checking on them to see how they liked it and what other types of resources they need, maybe going through into another sales funnel after that. And so you can see I just listed out and I rattled them off, right? I rattled them off, all the things that you might need. But the thing is that if you don't write those down, you may forget, right? And I've had clients who actually, they created a course. They were so excited. They got it done. It looked really beautiful, professional. Everything was done right. It looked great. They completely forgot to write a sales page for it. They completely forgot to write a thank you page. They completely forgot to write an email sequence for it. Now, that doesn't mean they didn't create a huge milestone there just by completing the course, right? But had they thought about everything up front, they would have realized and allotted time to create those additional things. Now, instead, they're scrambling at the last end to build a sales page and build those welcome emails. And those are really the most important parts of the entire course, right? Is to make sure that they sell, writing good copy, for your emails, writing good copy for your sales page, all those things. So that's why project management can really make a difference when you create a project charter or a project plan, or you go through user stories, whatever methodology you choose to use. I like to keep it really simple and do a basic project plan that outlines all the deliverables I need and then goes into some detail about what is required to get those deliverables. And by deliverables, I mean output, right? And when you think about output, then you kind of have to think about input, right? You think about input and what inputs do you need to create those outputs? And then you start having some sort of a flow, right? A workflow, and you create a dependency, right? A dependency. Your deliverables are dependent upon those inputs. So think about inputs and outputs when you're putting together a project. At the very least, think about the inputs and outputs. What input do you need to get this job done, and what outputs will you be producing or someone else on your team might be producing that will make the completion of this project? All right, so once you have all those things listed out and you know exactly what it is that you need, then you can start making estimates. And when you make estimates, a bunch of things can happen. One, you can start planning out how long you think it's going to execute or take to execute this project. Now, if you're only putting 25% of your time towards projects, you want to think about that, right? So if something is going to take you, 40 hours to complete, and you're only working 5 hours a week on your project, then less than that, probably 75% of that time is going to be actually dedicated to creating those deliverables. The rest is going to be, figuring it out, designing it, all those things, unless you do big design up front, which I don't necessarily encourage you to do. I think designing as you go is okay, as long as you are staying completely focused on what the outcome needs to be, and you can stay flexible so that you can modify it as you go. So building your work for flexibility is essential in that respect, so that you can keep going through a continuous improvement process, because nothing is ever done completely. No projects are ever done completely. A lot of times these projects go into either what we used to call maintenance mode, but now in Scrum, we call it continuous improvement mode. You fix the bugs first. Anything that's a showstopper, you get all those things fixed. And then you start making a list of all the things that are missing. Either it's a feature missing, or maybe it's not working as well as you'd like it to work. It's clunky or illogical, something like that. You want to fix it. And then, any other types of things that you need to make it more efficient, more smooth, and be, a better user experience for your users. Okay, so that is one of the things that you can get done, or you can really start looking at, is when you have estimates for every item in your project. Now you can start focusing on how long it's going to take you to get that project done, and given your limitations, right? Your limitations are the number of hours you're able to work on your projects, whether or not you have a team that you can delegate to, and any kind of obstacles that might be coming up in the future. Maybe you have some big event coming up that's going to pull you away from work for a while. Something like that. So you want to be really looking down the road. If you're planning on a vacation, you want to plan for that so that you don't end up working on your vacation, right? If you only want to work 20 hours a week, plan your projects around that schedule of working only 20 hours a week, because the better you get at planning your life around working only the hours that you choose to work and you want to work, then that's the only time that you can actually build your business around that work schedule and make it happen for you. And that might include outsourcing. That might include, really prioritizing and accepting a longer time frame of when you're going to get projects completed. Good morning, Becky. Thank you for coming. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, so the other thing is, once you have those estimates completed for your project, so you've gone through the process, right? You've looked at the inputs you need. You've looked at the outputs you're going to create, the deliverables of the project to make it a complete project. And now you've done your estimates. You know what that is. And now you're going to start actually looking at how much that's going to cost. If it's all you and you're the only one doing the work, you want to start putting a price tag on your time. And anything over your 25% time that you've allotted to that project is infringing on time that you would spend on your daily work or your marketing, right? So anytime you're infringing on that, that is a much more higher cost to your company than if you're just using your allotted amount of time that you plan to use for projects. And your time is very valuable, right? Your time should be spent on, your secret sauce, right? And your practice and your art, whatever it is that you're doing, and to keep learning and getting better and better and better at your craft, right? And so you want to make sure that you're putting value to your time and measuring that time against how much it would cost somebody else to get it done, right? So let's think about that. If you had a sales page and you wanted somebody to help you, do the research to find like the perfect template for that, or you wanted to do it yourself, right? Then you can start estimating how much time you think that would cost, how much time it would cost in your time, and then how much money it would cost you to have somebody else do it, right? There's these beautiful companies like Upwork and Fiverr that you can go and hire people just by the job, right? And you can get very specific skill sets. So you don't even have to like hire a full-time employee or anything like that. You could just say, you know what? I'm going to give somebody $50 to go do this thing for me so that I don't have to do it, right? And if you start utilizing the same person over and over again, they will learn your business, and you can start outsourcing small pieces of your project so that you can keep moving along and stay on the time frame you want to stay on. That's why you want to really start looking at cost, right? One, how much time is it going to cost me? And how much is my time worth? Can I do it for cheaper? And can I get it done faster and get it to market faster where I can start creating revenue if I hire it out? And then finally, what would be my return on investment? And those are the kinds of measurements that we start working on when we're doing project management. We start looking at metrics. It becomes a more scientific approach so that you're taking all the emotion out of everything, and you're really just looking at whether it was, what worked, what didn't work, how you can fix those things that don't work, and then, making estimates to fix that thing, figuring out how much that thing is going to cost, and then determining if you want to invest in that one project to make it happen, right? And so I love thinking about that, because if you think about a project as a package, right? Here's this package that you want to create, and it's going to take, you think it's going to take this much calendar-wise, but you're looking into outsourcing. So now you can start looking at all the different components and the skill sets required to outsource. You can go into Upwork or someplace, post a job, or just search around for people who have those skill sets and look at their qualifications and how much they charge. That will help you determine how much that particular activity is worth. And when you think about it, you may realize that, oh my gosh, paying somebody, $30 or $50 a month to manage this particular thing for me is worth it. It's worth it to not have that headache of having to do that myself. And it only takes them, 3 hours or 4 hours, and they're $15 an hour, whatever, right? So you can start looking at it in these small increments because of the beauty of these companies that allow you to just hire by the job. It's really, really great. Okay, so now that we've talked about data, right? Now you're talking about how you have, how much money you maybe need to actually execute this project, unless you do everything yourself and you're not even counting your labor. But if you start counting your own labor and the cost of your time, you're going to start seeing the dollar amount that your project is going to take, and you can compare it to outsourcing. How long will it take? How much money will be required to do it myself? Or how long and how much money will be required to outsource that and get those pieces done that take me so long and hold up my project so that I'm delayed in getting my work out there. Now, if you're completely constrained and you don't have the money or anything like that, then you may have to do DIY for a while. But if you think about and you plan your projects well, there's a real possibility you could afford even, $30 to have somebody else do something in that couple of hours of work and save yourself that time, right? Save yourself that time and that distraction, the distraction on the bigger pictures, the bigger things, right? And so now that you're getting those stats, you can really start looking at the performance of your projects over time, right? So now you have project A, project B, project C, over the course of years, you have all these different projects and you have some measurements, some basic measurements. Were we on time? Did we stay within scope? Did we meet the requirements? Did we, how successful, how long did it take to get our project stable after we deployed it and make it where we felt confident that it was ready to go? And then, what were the costs? How much did it cost? How much rework did we have to do? How much extra time did it cost us because we didn't plan things out a little bit better in the beginning, right? And then, what is your return on the investment that you made? So you can see now how you could actually package that thing up and say, okay, this project, if I invest $500 into this project to get some help, I could get this thing done in, 2 sprints rather than 6 sprints. That's huge, right? That we're talking, a month compared to an entire quarter. And you can get your work out there faster and you can get everything going, a little bit more smoothly. You can have help. You can be in charge rather than being in the weeds. And maybe even you're starting to pave the path down the road to that dream job that you have, right? Because if your dream job is doing all the things, I highly doubt that your dream job is doing every single item in your thing. But if it is, that's okay, because project management can still help you with that because it can help you become more efficient, right? Because once you now have a track record and measurements, you can start identifying what you need to improve on to make your project management practices better and make your outcomes more successful, right? You can start creating repeatable processes and some templates and some basic things that you do for every project that is part of your basic project management process. Now, I'm not saying you create a cookie cutter approach that you force your projects into. I'm saying everything that you create should be able to mold to your project and be flexible to mold to your project, right? So an example would be if you create a project plan, a project plan template, or the one I gave you, that is a guide. And I don't want you to use it as a form, right? A form is rigid. You have to fill in exactly what's in that form. Think about a medical form or something like that, right? Where you're filling out all your basic information and they have a form and they don't want you to modify it or anything or put weird information in there. It's a form and it is rigid. But a project management plan is a template and it is meant to be a guide. So you take your project and you modify the form to your project. So if you normally have, an in scope and out of scope, but that isn't really relevant to your project, you could remove that. If you have other things that are not listed in that template, maybe some measurements or additional information you want to track or you want to record, then you add that in there. But it's never, ever rigid. It's always just a guide, okay? And so that guide can help you get everything kind of written down and, it helps you walk through the entire process of doing that thing before you actually do it. So if you mentally walk through, like building the front end of your funnel, right? That's how I start, is mentally walk through the process that your user is going to go through. They're going to see an ad. or a social media post or something on your website, they're gonna click to go to your opt-in page. They're gonna see that opt-in page. They're gonna see the thank you page after they fill out the form. Hopefully that form is working and it's getting them into your email list. And then they're going to receive an email, right? They're going to maybe receive a series of emails. So if you walk through that user experience, it helps you identify those deliverables. And then when you identify those deliverables, you can start going into as much detail as you need to frame out those deliverables. So you're going to need a lead magnet, right? We didn't even talk about that. The welcome email is going to deliver that that lead magnet. So you need a lead magnet. Well, what's in that lead magnet? What does it do? What's the outcome? What's the goal of it? What are all those things? You can see how if you start focusing your attention on the outcomes and you record those things, that then your work while you're implementing will be much more focused, right? It's much more focused on the things that you need to create that deliverable. I hope you can see how you can get less sidetracked by doing that and stay much more focused. And you can really start looking at the cost of everything and determine if it's really worth it to you to do the work yourself, or if you are ready to start hiring people. Now, hiring people for small projects is a great way for you to start searching for the right resources for you to have a go-to person. And you may not have to use them all the time. Maybe you utilize them only in certain parts of your project. Maybe you utilize them because you want to fast track something, or you got behind on a project and now you need some help, right? That's where the project planning can really come into play, because if you need to quickly hire somebody to get some things done, you have a project plan to share with them that shows them some direction on what to do, right? Then you can actually delegate. Because if you don't have the ability to delegate because you haven't planned something out enough, it's impossible. You're just going to waste your time and your money. So that being said, that's one more reason why project management can be so helpful. The simple things, a project charter, a project plan, even a requirements document or a design, an overall picture of your design can help so much in communicating to yourself, to your business partners, whether that's you or a true business partner or a spouse, and you're looking for some an infusion of some investment money. You may need to justify that to your spouse or to your business partner, and having a project plan can actually help justify that expense so that it's easier for somebody to say yes when they're investing in your project. And you have a way to measure things and provide a status to them so they can see what's happening with their money, right? And they can see the growth and the progress of your project, and you're not just spinning your wheels. So I hope you see how that actually doing some formalized project management can definitely help you with implementation. But it is a practice and it doesn't happen overnight. That's why I really encourage you to stay in this group and keep laser focused on developing this very important skill of project management. Whether you just use Scrum all by itself, or you use a combination of both, or you use a waterfall method, which is the traditional method of project management, it really does not matter. What matters is you stay flexible, do not get rigid, because project management can also have some downfalls, especially when it comes to forms. We just talked about that. Templates and forms, people get so rigid and they think they need everything, right? So far, I've pretty much only introduced you to Scrum, a project charter, and a project plan. And that's like the basics of what I think are super helpful for somebody for implementing a project and not going in that squirrel thing, right? Where you're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. all that stuff, right? You've already kind of gone through that process, walked through the thing it is that you want to build or create, and identified all of those deliverables, so it's going to be easier for you to implement. Also, you've estimated, you know how long it's going to take, so you don't have unreasonable expectations on yourself, which can cause you to get overwhelmed. And then what happens when we get overwhelmed? We end up right back in the Facebook feed buying somebody's course because we because we think we need it. It's going to be the thing that's going to fix us, right? And so I really encourage you to stay focused on learning these very important skills of project management, because it really is your next level of professional development that's going to help you be successful. Learning to manage projects will help you be successful. And if you've ever worked with contractors, so I've worked with a few, right? And I've had some that are amazing. They come in, they give me a proposal, it's written, it's got in there things like, here's the need of the client, here's what our proposal is, here are the costs, and this is the time frame, this is the schedule, everything, right? Beautiful. Beautiful. I know exactly what to expect. Then there's others that are flying by the seat of their pants. They don't document anything. They're just like scrambling around. You can tell they're disorganized, and it can be very frustrating when you're about to invest a bunch of money in them, right? So be on the watch for that if you ever do hire anybody, of how organized, how organized are they? Are they providing you with something that really gives you an understanding of that they understand what you need, that they understand what outcomes are desired, that they understand what deliverables are expected, and that they have mapped out a timeline so that you know what to expect. All right. So project management works both ways. Once you start learning more about project management and you start implementing it yourself, and remember there's a maturity model and a maturity level, right? You start, you practice, you improve, you keep practicing, you keep improving. It's not an overnight thing, right? Everybody's going to be in different stages. But when you start looking at other people and how they do things, the more you know about project management, the better it will be for you to identify those people who are embracing some project management and organization and focus, right? And focus on a project. And you probably will get a better outcome from that person because it's just more planned out. You have this great communication tool, which is your project plan or a proposal or whatever they call it. Doesn't really matter, but it's outlined everything. It's communicated to you exactly what you need. I was going to get back to that whole thing on templates and all that stuff. You've got a zillion templates, and where project management can fail is when you get too rigid on those kinds of things and you say, every project has to have this form. Every project has to have this form. This tool, this thing. Well, if you're going to change the oil in your car, you probably don't need a skill saw, right? If you're going to, change a light socket, out, you probably don't need a skill saw, right? And so think about the tools in your toolbox and the jobs that you do around your house. Yes, you might need all those tools at different times for different projects, but you don't need every tool for every single project. And that is what project management is about. It gives you a toolbox, and a lot of the stuff in writing is a way for you to communicate to yourself, to others, what it is that you're doing. And the more you can write that out and plan that out, the better you're going to be at implementation. And utilizing these forms can help you have a beginning, middle, and end to your planning process so that you can move to implementation, right? So, I know that a lot of times we get stuck in that planning, and I think it is usually because we don't have a good method for planning out our work and for planning out our projects, and we're not breaking things down into projects, right? Think about, what I just said about the lead magnet, the sales page, the opt-in page, the the ad, the, sales copy, the, the design of your lead magnet, all those different things. If you just had those on a to-do list and they weren't associated with a project, they would feel disjointed, right? And not connected and overwhelming. But when you put it in a project and you're like, okay, this sprint, I'm allotting this much time for my project. And then you go into your project, you look at your project management tools that you created for that project, and you determine what it is you're going to do, what's the highest priority, what are the must-haves, what are the should-haves, what are the could-haves, what are the won't-haves at this time, and then you go right into execution because you already have a plan, you've planned it out, and maybe done some design work and things like that as well, okay? All right, so I hope that helps you really think about project management as part of your skill set, right? As part of your professional development for your career as a business owner. Remember, we're going for the long haul. This is not something you're just going to do for a while and then put it away. You are building your career path. What is that career path that you want? And I am here to say your next step from coming out of the weeds and doing everything, even if you're still doing it, is to take on the project management responsibilities for your business. Eventually, you might start outsourcing that. Maybe you'll hire a project manager or you'll hire a product owner. I actually hired a virtual assistant who is a certified product owner. That's very exciting, right? Because she has project management experience. She has Scrum experience. She has product owner experience that will help us develop all of our work and hold me accountable, right? In terms of making sure I stay true to my vision. She will too, because she represents the customer and the client as the product owner. She's representing their needs for me and helping me stay the course. So it's amazing the resources that are out there, you guys. And if you just put some time into some project management, you can start to see whether or not it is best for you to do all the work yourself or make a small investment to get some of these things fast-tracked for you. Okay, so, and then, maybe you get a return on that investment. You can keep reinvesting into that more and more and more, and maybe get more of it outsourced to people who are the experts in those areas and make your work better and better and better and better and better in the long haul. So I want you to think long term when you think about your business. Yes, you might be in the weeds now. Is that where you want to be? I want you to think about your dream job and start working towards that dream job. And if it is, managing your company and not having to do every little detail of work, that's my dream job. Is I want to coach my clients and help my clients. I want to show up for you. I don't want to have to do all the other work and all that stuff. I just don't. I don't enjoy it. I feel like it takes away from my ability to serve my clients well. And so to me, the investment is worth it. But I didn't start there. In the beginning, I was doing it all myself. And now I'm really starting to, really work on getting myself super organized for every project so that I can focus on what resources do I need to manage this project, not what resources do I need forever. What resources do I need to manage this project and get this project done? See how finite that is? It's, okay, I'm going to invest $500 or $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000, whatever it is that you choose to invest in that project. It's a finite amount. It's not like, oh, you're just going to continuously feed your business forever, right? It's a finite amount, and you're expecting a return on that investment. And through project management, you're going to be able to prove that to yourself, whether or not it was a good investment or not. And if it wasn't a good investment, why wasn't it a good investment? Where did you need to make improvements for the next time? Because with business, we don't give up, right? We just keep going. We keep fixing the problems. We keep filling in the skill gaps, filling in the gaps of our work. and we make it happen methodically and strategically, not emotionally, not with drama and stress and doubt and all that stuff. We don't do that anymore. We are a business, and we are going to stay completely focused on being a business owner and not being an emotional wreck. Which means, yes, imposter syndrome and all those things are going to come up, but instead of looking at it like, oh, it's paralyzing, you're going to look at it like, okay, what can I learn today to make myself feel less like an imposter? Right? What can I do today to learn how to get past this obstacle? What can I do today to manage my projects better so I have better outcomes? All right. So those are the things I want you to be thinking about. I want you to really think today. That is your challenge for this sprint. Think about what your dream job is. Every single thing that you do, highlight the ones in a red pen, the things that you don't want to do in the future. Highlight the things in a green pen, the things that you do want to be doing in the future, the things that you love to do about your business. Highlight those things. And then let's start looking at our projects from that point of view and start making your focus be on making sure you're getting a good return on investment so that you can continue to reinvest in your business and outsource the things that you hate, outsource the things where you don't have the skills, and get this thing to the level that you want it to be, no matter what it is. 5 figures, 6 figures, 7, 8, 9, having a company, having a team of, 10 or 100, whatever your dream is, just being a solopreneur, that's there too, right? Project management is super helpful for that as well, because it helps you become more efficient in the long run and more focused and pointed on what exactly you're doing so that you can get everything done. And you can be realistic too. And so you don't kill yourself. All right. Okay, you guys, I've already kept you long enough. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. Have a great sprint, and think about your dream job and what it is you want to do, and write down all the things that you would love to outsource. I want to see it in the comments. Anything you want to outsource that you absolutely hate, write it down now. I want you to write down all the things you love too. So fill in the comments here. I also put a poll out in Facebook too. I'd like you to go and answer that poll if you could, please. I think it's important, and I'm going to really start making a shift towards really not just scrumming it. Scrumming it is great, but really looking at the future of your business and where you want to be, and then taking pointed, focused steps every single day toward that goal. Okay. If it's not aligned with that goal, don't do it. If it's not aligned with your goal, don't do it. Okay. Only do the things that are totally and 100% in support of your goals. Okay. Well, that's good. Keep going, Becky. I know you haven't gotten that far. You've got a lot on your plate, but keep going. Even if you only have 4 hours a week, 1 hour of that needs to be dedicated to your projects, right? And to getting those projects done, right? A quarter of your time. Okay. All right, you guys, have a great week, and I will see you in the comments. Bye.